Hello, welcome back to the channel, and we're now into October, so the end of 2023 is rapidly approaching. But it's also time to look back over my September solar generation and usage, and a quick preview. The solar generation is definitely on the way down for the year, but it's been a bit hit and miss throughout September. So before I get into the stats, first of all, thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. Again, that subscribership up will help me on the way to making this channel bigger and better. Just as some other news, what we're considering. In the previous video, I talked about thinking about selling my car. That's still on the cards, and still quite interested in a Model 3 long range. That's a Tesla. Also considering like the options for heating now. We are likely to be moving to Octopus next year, and we are thinking about if we can accelerate when we are going to get rid of the gas from the house and move to purely electric, which will mean having to replace our gas boiler, because we have gas central heating, and our gas hob. We have got electric ovens under it, so we'd have to replace the whole unit, unfortunately, so the whole cooking system, but that's something to consider. Part of that, one of the things we are considering is heat pumps. We're currently with British Gas, and that's relevant to this video as well. And they're offering what seems to be quite a good deal on a conventional air to wet heat pump system, which might make it viable. So that's something for me to consider over the next few months, so I will be making some videos about my decisions on that. Anyway, let's get into this month's stats, and here's the first graph, our September generation. As you can see, it's been a bit of, the month has been all over the place. It started off with a lot of sun. We had quite a heat wave, but we had quite a bit of sun for the first week of the month. And in fact, on the 2nd of September was the highest generation day of the month, where we generated 29.2 kilowatt hours. Then it sort of dropped off, and the worst day we had was 3 kilowatt hours being produced, and that happened multiple times. On the 17th, the 16th, the 24th, you get the idea. So it was a month of extremes. You had some days which were really good and some days that were not so good. But this all meant that the total generation for the month, if I find the actual figure on my spreadsheet, was 439.6 kilowatt hours. So that's down on the previous month, where we generated 490 kilowatt hours. However, it was slightly up on 2022. This is the first time I'm able to do a direct month-to-month comparison. So in September 2022, we generated 228 kilowatt hours. So we generated 12 more kilowatt hours this month, or this year, compared to September last year. What I'll do in future videos is actually plot a graph of this, where I put this year's numbers compared to last year's numbers for direct comparison months, and then we can see if the year has been better overall or worse overall, or if it stays the same, or if numbers average out over the year. So that'll be an extra bit of analysis I can do in future videos. So with that in mind, where did that let's call it 440 kilowatt hours actually go? So this is our graph of the monthly usage. So as usual, the blue is the exports, that's what we've exported back to the grid. The yellow is our battery, so this is energy that we've stored from our roof into our battery and then used. And the green is the self-use, so this is our real-time use. So this is energy coming from our 12 Q-cell solar panels on the roof, which produce a peak power of 4.65 kilowatts, which feeds into a 5 kilowatt Solis inverter, and then we have a 5 kilowatt hour pure drive battery, and the rest goes into the house. So the green is what we've used in real time. And the red is where we've had to import from the grid. So you can see there's a few days around the week of the 15th to the 21st where there is a fair amount of red on the graph, more than we've seen in previous months. And that's just because the solar we were producing wasn't enough to provide energy to the house, so we've had to import from the grid. What you also see is that towards the end of the month, our self-use and our battery usage has actually dropped off a lot, and that's because for the last week in September we were away in Yorkshire for the week doing some tango teaching and having a holiday, so our actual loading on the house was lower, and that's representative in this graph. So let's talk about some actual numbers. Normally we use about 200 kilowatt hours a month, and that's just in electricity usage. We have, as I say, I have got an electric car, but I can't charge it at home because I haven't got a driveway. And our heating and hot water comes from a gas boiler, and we have an electric oven, but also a gas hob, so some of the cooking is done by gas. So that's why we're relatively low users at the moment of electricity. As I say, usually we use 200 kilowatt hours per month. This month we only used about 180, as you can see from this graph, and that was because we were away for that last week of the month. So our usage was a little bit down compared to, say, last year and this year. So last year we used in September, we used 190 kilowatt hours in September last year, so 10 kilowatt hours down on last year for the usage. That was split that we had to import 14.58 kilowatt hours from the grid, and 165 we used ourselves, which means that there was about 280 that we sent back to the grid. So let's talk about this in terms of money. I'm on a British Gas tariff, which is a dual fuel one, which means we pay about just over 19p per kilowatt hour for electricity import. Our standing charge is about 23.5p. I'm not counting standing charge in any of this analysis. So the money that we would have spent at British Gas if we had to import all our electricity would have come out at, if you look at this graph, the green, £32.33. So that's how much we've saved by having a solar panel and not having to send to British Gas. What we did send to British Gas was £2.85 for that 14.58 kilowatt hours we imported. And the 280-ish that we exported back to the grid, we get paid 5p per kilowatt hour from So Energy. As I say, I'm looking to change that tariff now. I just haven't had time to actually go on and do it, so I know it's low. That meant we have a monthly income from our export of £14.25. So if we add the money saved, which was the £32.33 to that £14.25, that comes to a monthly sort of income saving, whatever you want to call it, of £46.58, which compared to last month where we had £52.88 total. And as I say, we had to spend £2.85 on electricity, which was basically twice as much as the previous month. So you can see how much we've had to import, and how that disruption to the solar generation, even though we had more energy than we would have needed, just because of the way it's produced, or when it's produced, that's when we have to import, and costs us money. That's why we can't be self-sufficient. If we compared now to 2022, in 2022 we imported slightly less. We spent £2.50 on import last month, so the actual solar generation, even though it was slightly less, was more evenly spread, slightly. Last year, again because we didn't go on holiday, we saved £34.89 compared to this month, which was £32.33, so £2.50 saving there, but that's again, it's explained because of the holiday. We exported slightly more this month because of that. So last year we exported £13 worth. This year we exported £14.25 worth. So not a huge amount of extra export there, in the region of 25 kilowatt hours more. But again, that's probably due to the fact that we had a little bit more solar generation and less usage. Anyway, I'll finish the video there, wrap it up. Thank you for watching. As I say, please hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you in another video very soon.